Hi and welcome to yet another quick review, and this one will be about the Pirelli Scorpion Rally tires, and these are mounted on our 1200 GS Adventure model year 2016. I have Pirelli Scorpion Rally in the front, and I have Pirelli Scorpion Rally in the rear. You can see it right here. So this is my finger, this is a tread size, so big gaps between the treads, kind of sand paddle style-ish tread pattern. In the front, large knobs with a big distance in between them. In some of them I can fit my finger, and some of them I cannot. The tread height front and rear is quite alright, but I saw bigger. So I have these tires for 2 days. I've been riding before with Hayden K60s for approximately in total 7,000 kilometers. And so yesterday it was dry and today it was rain, so I took a bike in the wet conditions to test how this will grip. So first of all, the tires themselves. So these are extremely hard Carcass tires. Comparing to the Hayden K60s, these are like a wood. They were not mounted. So when they're not mounted, you cannot squish them at all. So they like a hard wood, front and rear. And also mounting them may be quite hard, and they pop very loudly when you inflate them first time after mounting. So extremely hard Carcass. Is it good or bad? So I don't know, we shall see. The big question about that is what tire pressure should I run? So I tried 2.5 front, 2.9 rear yesterday on the cold, and I tried, and they didn't heat up at all. It was just outside it was plus 18, 17 degrees Celsius. I couldn't get any heat from front and rear at all. So when I tried 2.2 in the front and 2.5 in the rear, and I could get some 0.1 bar raise in tire pressure and some heat in the front and the rear. So both raised up at the same rate for me. That was riding in normal mode, single on the ESA settings. But I don't know, so maybe I need to run lower pressure, maybe not. If you know the answer, let me know. But extremely hard Carcass, and I don't think they're flexing too much because they feel wooden when you ride them. And maybe that is a part of a handling issue, which I'm going to talk about later. So in Hayden K60s, I've been running 2.3 in the front and 2.5 in the rear, and I had no issues with heat or anything like that, or handling. Everything was superb. Alright, so dimensions of the tires. I'm not talking about the sizes printed on the tires, which is obviously standard here for R1200 water cooled GS Adventure. So it's exactly printed the same size as on the K60s Hayden now. But what I noticed, again, just subjectively, what the front is probably a little bit higher one on the K60s, and it's narrower on the K60s, and have extremely different profile. So this tire is much more flat over here. So Hayden now would be like a bubble, like an egg. The rear is the same in terms of a profile, so it's more flatter comparing to K60s. K60s are more like shaped as a kind of a good road tire, so this one is more flat, and also it's definitely smaller in diameter than the K60s, and you can see that by looking at just these gaps over here, in the suspension clearance and gap here to a mudguard, and it's definitely narrower. So looking here, so K60s would be something like that, so much more shoulder. So maybe it's done for a purpose, so a narrower tire probably would hold better off-road. We shall see. I haven't been riding off-road with these tires yet. I had no time basically because I'm working, but as soon as I can, I'll definitely do it and give you a review regarding off-road capabilities of these tires. So now we're talking just about the road capabilities in dry and wet. So braking. In dry conditions and wet conditions, these tires definitely engage the ABS much earlier the K60s. So you cannot brake so hard on these tires as on the K60s. And also with a tire pressure 2.2 in the front comparing to 2.5 in the front, ABS engages with 2.2 much later, which means this tire with a lower pressure has much more grip comparing to the standardly recommended pressure from a manufacturer of the tires, and also the BMW itself. That's one. Second problem, or just note, but the turning performance of these tires is very different to what it is on the K60s. So for me, K60s were very well balanced in terms of their shape and probably the size. So when you turn the bike, it feels very maneuverable and it feels like it's right where it wants to be in a turn. So you can lean the bike, you can control the lean very well with a little steering input. And steering input is easy, and the bike doesn't want to fall into a turn too much. It kind of stays neutral everywhere, and that's perfect for whatever reason. So with these tires, the situation is extremely different. So on a straight line, where we feel much more stable, not much more, but just a little bit more stable on K60s. So it gives you a feel of a comfort, what you can actually accelerate to at higher speeds more aggressively, because K60s sometimes in the front can give you wobble at a very high speed, close to the limit of a tire. And if you open the throttle there and hit a little bump with the front, you may get a tongue slapper. That's why we have an aftermarket steering dampener there, adjustable from Pirelli. So on these tires, that feeling is gone. So the bike feels as on the rails in a straight line, and that's good. In a turn though, it feels okay when you turning at a small angles at a low speed. But when you want to turn at a high speed, the bike kind of wants to fall into a turn too much. So it's not neutral. It kind of tries to fall more when you would like or would expect to for a bike to fall into a turn. At least that's my initial impression. And also with a K60s, when you in a turn, the bars kind of move towards the turn a little bit, so again in a very neutral way, and you can just relax and control everything with your body and little accelerator input. On these ones, the bars kind of stays straight, as if on a straight line. For some reason, doesn't want to kind of react to the bike movements left to right, and you need to give the bars a little bit more input or lean the bike much more actually, and because it kind of falls there too, it gives you quite an interesting, maybe a little bit unsafe sensation, I would say. Again, maybe I need to adopt my thinking or my riding style to these tires, and maybe that will be perfectly fine later, but at the moment I would say on the road K60s do feel better generically, especially in a turn, and these feel more stable on a straight line. That's my initial impression. But comparing to like a quick riding, and not a high speed, but like quick, nimble maneuvers everywhere in the traffic and so on and so forth, on a K60s is much easier to do on these tires, at least at the moment for me. And K60s definitely give more grip on the dry, both front and rear on these tires. So acceleration, DSC, traction control engages much earlier, ABS engages much earlier comparing to the K60s for whatever reason. Alright, so now let's talk about the wet conditions. So today it was raining for quite a while. Tarmac or asphalt is all wet, and so I took it out. It was raining while I took it out, so I'm all wet too. No, that's okay. Alright, so in the wet conditions, even though people say K60s suck in wet, we suck even more. So the braking with ABS engages almost immediately, acceleration, traction controls almost immediately on. So we suck in wet, this I can say. I don't think it's gonna change unless I maybe can find some extremely interesting tire pressure for this hard carcass where it would start gripping in wet, which I doubt will happen. But I would take K60s for now. That's my initial impression. I would take K60s in wet condition and dry condition on the road comparing to these tires anytime. Yeah. So, and what I'm gonna say, so I need to try them off road too, because that was the purpose why I bought these tires, because K60s they kind of suck off road. And the problem with that is they feel you they give you quite misleading feeling of safety when you're riding them off road. It's because they kind of fine with the trails on the packed surfaces, they fine off road. But when you have, let's say, sand, when you're riding over sand and when you're riding over mud, a K60s gives you a feeling that everything is fine, when suddenly you lose grip and fall. That has happened to me twice. So I fell once on the right side, one on the left side, both times in the mud, and both came from nowhere, like everything is fine, and suddenly you find yourself on the side. So I hope that if a big beast like this, these tires may help that a little bit. So I can sacrifice a little bit of on-road performance, or maybe adjust myself to it, to the way how I handle, but gain a lot on the off-road riding. So mostly the sand, because in the forest here we have a lot of sand on the road, so it's not very packed, I guess. And these are former Dakar champions from 2009, I believe, if I may be mistaken, but something like that. So maybe we're still good on the sand, and then I will be extremely happy with these tires, but we shall see. Right, so that's pretty much it. So you saw this quite rare Pirelli Scorpion Rally on this big bike R1200 GS Adventure model year 2016. And I talk to you when I do some off-road testing and when I do another review when I kind of finish with them. Let's see how many thousand kilometers I can get from the rear, what's gonna happen to the front. Maybe I can find a good pressure for them too. But if you have experience with your tires, if you know what kind of pressure you would recommend to try, or what works good for the tarmac and for off-road, for these hard, extremely hard Carcass tires, please post it in the comments. I would be really interested to see that and try it. And so thank you very much and have a great day, and bye bye.